Hello, everyone. Is this recording properly? I have never looked more like the color of the wall in my life. I do apologize. This girl from the tropical weather has been living in London and has not gone to a warmer climate in over a long time, and will not be going to a warmer climate for another month. So I am slowly decaying as a human being for a little while, but give me a month. Maybe in a month I'll regain like 5% of my natural skin tone. But right now, I'm slowly deteriorating, and I'm gonna have to embrace it because there's really no other option for me. But also, I'm recording this at nighttime, aka the afternoon, but it's winter in London. It actually snowed today this morning, and that means that at 4 p.m. it is dark outside, and I'm currently recording this at 5:30 p.m. So I love winter, truly. I really don't, but I'm gonna have to embrace it. So today's episode I am extremely excited for, because it is a topic that has been very vital in my life for like the past 10 years. I would argue it is the topic of fast fashion, sustainable fashion, and just in general, just the idea of fashion. Honestly, I love fashion. I love dressing up. I love figuring out new styles. I genuinely love every single morning that I have to pick out a new outfit. I love styling, and it is something that I really want to get into the fashion industry long term. We'll see how that goes. I want to start my own sustainable fashion brand, not specifically a brand, but I kind of want to build the backbone of a sustainable business, or help businesses become sustainable through some kind of way that I'm going to figure out in the next 3 years, because at 23 I want to start my own company. But that's a story for another time. So the reason why this came to mind is because when I was in Denmark about 2.5 weeks ago, I picked up this book at the Design Museum in Copenhagen. It's called Where Next by Clear Press, and I genuinely love this book. I could not stop reading it. I was highlighting every single bit of it. It is a thick one. Like, it doesn't look as thick on camera. It looks thick, but it doesn't look as thick. It's very long, and it's really small writing, so it took me a little bit to get through it. Not because I didn't enjoy it, because I was literally reading for an hour every single morning, but because there's just a lot of content to go through, and it's just a lot of information to go through. And it made me realize once again in my life how much of an issue fast fashion is. Also, the luxury fashion aspect in industry is completely fucked as well. Sorry for my language. But yeah, I've already done it. I remember a couple years ago when I used to do YouTube videos, like for like different type of YouTube videos. I was doing videos about thrifting, styling, how bad fast fashion was. I was strictly cutting off fast fashion from my life. I have sadly gone back to it because I am a student. I cannot afford anything else, and I do want to get into that. But again, like, you can't really blame the consumers half the time, because they really can't afford going to small local brands, because they tend to have more expensive clothing. Even though there's so many cool local brands in London that I really wish I could buy from, but a pair of shoes is like £200, and then a shirt's like £80, and that goes my entire budget for the week, and it's just not great for me. So I can't really afford to do that. And maybe one day, hopefully, when I start making my own money next year, I will be able to afford maybe one shirt every 2 months from a really good local brand, and I'll just stick to that. But apart from that, I've always been really proud of myself. I never really throw clothes away. I keep them in my closet as long as I can. I rewear clothes as much as I can. I try to stick to it. I don't go shopping as often as I used to when I was a little kid. I would argue that I get new pieces of clothing. Like, I go through phases of a month where I go shopping like once a week, and then I'll go 4 months without having anything new, and then I'll go through a month again of going shopping once a week and getting like one piece. So I go through phases, but I will arguably say that I'm not as much as a consumer as I used to be. I've really slowed down, not only because I'm a student now, but apart from the fact that I've learned to get pieces that I know I can build together with my current stuff that I have in my closet, and I can make really cool outfits based on past outfits that I have. I don't know if that makes sense. But today's episode, I didn't even do an intro. So today's episode of Adult Even Out Really is going to be focused on the fast fashion industry. I kind of want to do an introduction to the fast fashion industry, make people aware of what's wrong with it. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand what's going on when you go into a Zara or an H&M. They don't really understand they're unaware of it, which I don't blame them. It's something, it's greenwashing has become a really big thing. And also, I have been really stressed over the fact that we have 3 years left of the climate change clock. And I don't know why I started getting stressed over it. And wow, my street is really, really loud today. I don't know why I started being so stressed over it. I think the current US elections stress me out a lot about the fact that we have a president sitting that does not believe in climate change, and we are utterly fucked. Again, excuse my language. So I've decided to not only YOLO through life now, do the best of it, because I really don't know when I'm not going to be able to enjoy the world as much as I can right now. But apart from that, it just generally, I've gotten so stressed over it to the point that I've but I'm generally thinking about going back to being vegetarian, but that's debatable. Maybe I'll just cut down on meat for a little bit. But yeah, so to start the whole process, I kind of want to give a brief introduction and description of what fast fashion is, for anyone that's not really aware of the issue. So fast fashion is, by definition, a business model in the fashion industry that emphasizes rapid production of low-cost, trendy clothing to meet consumer demand for the latest style. So this was introduced in the 1970s. That's when kind of celebrities started to rise, and people started looking up to specific actors, singers, celebrities, and they became very mainstream. So people started having these people to look up to, especially when it came to fashion and style. So magazines became a huge, massive media, and people were starting to understand, like, wow, I want to not understand, but I kind of look up to these people for style and thinking, I wish I could dress like them. I wish I could afford clothing like they do. And they used to wear really luxurious, expensive brands. And obviously the brands at the time that were for the lower middle class were not really representative of what all these high A-level celebrities were wearing. And Zara was one of the first companies to come up in the 1970s, 1980s, like beginning of the 1980s, and introduce this idea of its design concept to consumer in 15 days. So what they decided is that they were going to take all these big luxurious brands and they were kind of going to mimic and copy them and bring all these trends and this idea of you can literally wear what your favorite celebrity is wearing. In 15 days, you can literally have what you have on that magazine into your closet for much less and more affordable price. That became a little bit of a problem. Because people became obsessed with the fact that you can now dress like all these top level celebrities because you can afford it, because there's all these brands that are now giving you the option of having these clothes that represent what you're seeing on Instagram. Well, nowadays Instagram, not at the time, but nowadays you can literally scroll on Instagram, you can look at a picture of, I don't know, Gigi Hadid, you see a top that you really like, and then you're gonna see that it's from Chanel, but then guess what? Zara literally has a copy and paste of that shirt in their shop for like 30-20 pounds. Although Zara right now arguably is one of the most expensive in fast fashion. I went there the other day and I was looking for boots, and the boots were like 100 pounds, and I was like, there's no way. This has gone out of control. Absolutely out of control. But you can still argue that there's Shein is a really big example of fast fashion, the worst fast fashion, honestly, the worst fast fashion, not only because of its horrible pricing, which makes you want to shop more than you should, honestly, overconsumption, but also their chemical dyes are horrible for the environment. The chemical dyes are horrible for the environment. They're releasing toxic chemicals into the waters, a lot of water waste, obviously overworking their employees, illegal employment of children, and underpaying them. Also, horrible wages and horrible working hours for women, and just not the greatest brand, to be honest. But you can also see this within other brands that you wouldn't expect it. So we can see how that kind of started to become a thing. And then the more modernized version of it, I would say, is when it got really, really bad. Now it kind of got better, I would argue, from what I see, but it's still just not the greatest. In 2014 to 2016, we had hauls on YouTube. Now it's not such big of a thing. Now it's more towards TikTok that you see hauls, but the 2014 2016 hauls, like through that time period, were excessive. I remember the Black Friday hauls on YouTube by all these, like Alicia Marie, Lord DIY, all those big YouTubers at the time that all my friends used to watch, and me included, would do these massive hauls of like massive amounts of clothing they would buy in one day, and they would have millions and millions of views this video. So obviously teens were encouraged to go shopping all the time, to go get these deals, to go spend a huge amount of money in Bath and Body Works, apart from obviously like Zara, and Forever 21 at the time was a huge thing, I remember. So yeah, also Urban Outfitters, huge fast fashion brand as well, although they're more incorporating other fast fashion brands within their business because they just have a lot of brands within their stores. And yeah, so I think that was when it really hit the overconsumption of it, because people nowadays shop for trends. They don't really shop for what they need, which is, I think, a huge concept that needs to be turned around when you're going when it comes to the marketing of it. But obviously, you know, brands need people to spend money on their clothes, so it's just, that's not really they're not gonna change that. They're not gonna tell you to shop for what you need, not what they, you know, just not for fun. So the way garments are made nowadays is very unsustainable. There's a lot of overconsumption when brands are getting textiles for their manufacturing process. There's a minimum amount of length that they can, for example, there's a minimum amount of length that they can buy, and most of the time it's over the amount that they need. So there's a lot of dead stock. Dead stock can be defined as a bunch of really good quality textiles that are just sitting, or even garments, already made garments that are sitting without being sold, used. If it's textile, it's not being made into a garment or not even being made into anything. So it's unmonetized, just pieces of clothing that are being thrown in landfills, or they're being recycled, quote unquote, and brought to the shores of many lower developed countries, and they're just sitting there. And clothing doesn't really decompose. Most of the time, these garments are made with textiles that are not really decomposable, so they're just sitting there rotting and producing to the massive amount of landfills. So it's just really unsustainable for the environment, the way, not only the manufacturing, the process, and obviously how fast these products are made. Most of the time you have the factories running 24 hours if they have the technology to accompany the workers at the time. It's just, you know, most of the time Zara doesn't sell half of their store, and they don't sell most of the garments that are made, and they're just going back to landfills. There's also been scandals of luxury brands not selling all of their supplies and their garments within the physical stores, so they have to throw them through the back door. If you're not watching this in visual, I made air quotes, because they have to hide the fact that they have to throw these clothing away, because they can't really do anything about it. It's, again, dead stock, so they have to throw it in the trash, and again that accumulates to landfills, so it's just not great for anyone. So, and again, the companies are not only wasting their money by doing that, because they have to pay for more textiles and stock that they need, and then on top of that, you're just contributing to more landfills, and you're not even making money from it. So honestly, I don't really understand. I know it's because the people who are selling all these textiles, they need to make a minimum amount of money, and it just sucks the whole production of it. If you guys don't know, when it comes to making a specific garment, over 65 different hands are touching your shirt or your jeans before they actually get put in stores. That's because, for example, when it comes to jeans, the button is manufactured in a specific company, in a specific manufacturing in India. Then your setching is actually done in Bangladesh. Like, I'm just giving examples. A specific parts of every single part of the jean is made in different manufacturing plants, because it's much more sustainable economically for the companies to be doing this, because it charges them less, and every single manufacturing plant specifies on a specific part of the garment process. So that's how they utilize as much resources as they can. and it's cheaper for the companies, but that means that every single garment is being shipped around the world constantly until they finally get shipped to the final location where you can buy your clothes. So that is also, not only is it costly, but it's so many it's like the CO2 emissions is insane of a specific jean, because it's constantly flying and being shipped all over the world. And then so much water waste. Jeans take so much water to make. I don't know if you know that, but jeans take so much water to make. So it's overall such a problem. So knowing all of that and putting all of that into context, there's obviously a missing component to this entire story, and it's the emotional connection to your clothes. Obviously, you don't really know where your most probably you didn't even know that your jeans were made that's desperately in different parts of the world until I just told you that. And imagine 65 different people touching your jeans to make your jeans. Like 65 different people making your jeans. Think about a room with 65 different people. Isn't that crazy? Your jeans have probably been more all over the world than you have been to countries that you haven't even touched yet. And in the hands of people that have probably been overworked and underpaid while making your pair of jeans. Now, you can't really blame yourself because it's the only thing that you can probably afford, because you probably can't afford one of these sustainable brands. You can't afford Reformation. I wish I could afford Reformation. If I could afford Reformation, I would buy everything from Reformation. For context, for anyone that doesn't know, Reformation is a sustainable fashion brand. They are very focused on using natural dyes and organic materials, also locally produced, and they don't overproduce. They produce a minimal amount of clothing line, like garments, and then if in need of more, then they'll make more for that specific amount of people that need it. So they're a very sustainable brand, but it's very, very, very expensive. So as a student, I cannot afford to buy Reformation. And even then, it would be really, really expensive if my family just shopped from Reformation in general, because it would be very costly to just dress for an everyday life. So that is one of the market gaps that I would argue that is happening. Is I understand why people, including me, have to shop sometimes in fast fashion and rely on fast fashion, because one, if you really like fashion, if you really like styling, if you really like if you just like fashion and dressing up in general, you can't really afford to be going to all these small local brands or sustainable brands, because they normally tend to be really, really, really expensive compared to Zara or H&M. So you can't really blame us when it comes to that. I will say, I think the missing component is sharing the story of how your clothes are made. One really good specific example that I saw in the book that I was reading that I thought was really, really smart was how she was asking brands to put a QR code or a garment ID where you can read who made your clothes, put the name of the workers, put where it was made and how it was made, and then you kind of get a little storyline of where your jeans were made and how they were made. It reminds me a lot of Lush. Lush is kind of a, how would you explain it? It's like bath products, but then also face mask. It's more like well-being and like it's more well-being. They have face mask. Now they've introduced makeup. I guess it's beauty. You can argue it's beauty, a beauty brand, but they have in every single one of their containers for like their face mask or their shampoos or anything of that, they have pictures, like a little drawing of who made it and their name and what year it was made. So it was really cool because you kind of get an emotional attachment to the product. You kind of see like, oh, this was made by an actual person. Like an actual person had to make this product, had to put the mix together, had to make the face mask, and had to put it in the little container that I'm holding right now. So it gives an emotional feel and connection to it. So I feel like if you know the more emotional connection to your clothing, you don't tend to throw it away as fast as you would. Also, I do understand when people I've done it before. I've been guilty of it, of having to throw away clothes after 1 or 2 uses, sometimes maybe six months in, because the clothes, especially when it comes to like H&M, if you've ever shopped from Forever 21 or Shein, 100%, your clothes break within a week or within 2 weeks because they're such badly made. It's such low quality material that your clothes break. So yes, you're spending like $7 on a top, but then the top is gonna break in 4 months. So what's the point? What's the actual point of buying that top? Also, there's a huge problem with having to buy specific stuff for specific occasions. I used to have, it broke. So sad. I actually have to buy another one. Damn it. I used to have one long black dress, and my uni has a spring ball and a winter ball, and I used to wear that one long, classy, beautiful black dress. I would dress it up with different hair, different necklaces, different rings, just different accessories, different shoes, but the dress would stay constant. It was good, it was elegant, it was long, it was classy. I really liked the way it looked on me. Broke. I'm gonna have to buy another one, but I will be looking to buy one that will last for years to come, so I can use it in, you know, nice, elegant occasions as well. So I have that mindset of I buy what I need, and I know that I'm gonna need it for a long term. I don't think I ever have, like, when I go into shopping mode, when I go into my little shopping spree, I think about, will I be using this in more than one occasion? I never really buy a specific top that I'm like, oh, I need this for this specific party. It's like, okay, I need a top for this specific party, period. But how do I buy a top that I can use for this and more? Because I don't want to just, if I'm going to contribute to the fast fashion industry, let me at least buy something that when I feel it, it looks like it's going to stay, and that I know that I'm going to be using multiple times and throughout the years. I have shirts from Zara that have stayed with me and are still with me for a couple of years because I take care of them, because I bought it knowing that I was going to use it for years to come, and that it was going to stay constant within kind of like my style. My style has evolved throughout the years, but somehow I've managed to keep it constant. Not keep it constant, but integrate old clothing into my new style by accessorizing it, maybe wearing it a different way. Maybe sometimes I use some of my old shirts that I don't like as a shirt under when it's cold outside and I need multiple layers. So like my old shirt, it's not showing, like the newer, more my current style is showing, but it's keeping me warm inside the other one. So that's the way that I tend to multi use my clothes. And yeah, I generally think we need to start shopping more for long lasting occasions, less than short term wear. I think that's a huge problem, especially I've seen a lot of my friends having to be like, oh, I have to buy this because it'll do this for me. And I'm like, do you really need it? Like, do you really need that? Do you really need those slippers? You have already 2 more slippers. You don't need that specific color of slippers. So I think about, what do I need instead of what I want? Now, I'm not saying don't spoil yourself every once in a while. I do it. I spoil myself every once in a while. But when I decide to spoil myself, I'm like, okay, is there any way that I can maybe thrift this piece of clothing, or that I can, for example, buy it from a smaller brand, or I can buy it secondhand through Depop or Vinted, or am I gonna be using this for more occasions? Is this going to last for a couple more years? I do a closet clean out. Well, lately, because I've been moving so much, I do a lot of closet clean outs, but I still donate every single pieces of my clothing. I don't ever throw it out on the trash, because it's just going to end up in landfills, and charity shops need as much donations as possible. And it takes 2 seconds. Like, there's so many charity bins and donation bins all over. I mean, I hopefully in your city, but in Miami there were so many. Even in Spain when I was there this summer, I donated some of my stuff that I didn't want to take with me back in my suitcase, so I donated it. And I am going to be donating some of my stuff now in London. So it takes like 10 minutes of your life. So I really do recommend doing that for your closet if you really need a clean out, but you also want to help others. And also, there's so many companies that go through charity bins and they try to upcycle pieces of clothing. So, you'll be helping out there. So, when it comes to how I style my pieces of clothing, because I really wanted to get into it because I just love fashion. And I've just been really having fun with my stuff lately, even though today's just very monotone. It was really cold today and at a 9 a.m. class, and I just came back because I've been out all day. But apart from that, so basically, I lived in a tropical weather my entire life. And as of 3 years ago, I moved to and experienced winter for the first time in my life. So I could argue that I'm still learning how to style in the winter. I own 3 jackets, and my friends tell me that it looks like I wear the same outfit every single day until I take off my jacket, because it is true. I've learned that my mistake was that I was buying so many long sleeve shirts that were kind of cool, but then I was keeping 2 jackets. So And let's be real here, in the winter, the only thing that's showing is the jacket. So I have learned the hard way that to style the winter, you need to invest most of your money into cool scarves and cool jackets. And then the rest will just be simple. Keep it simple with the shirts, keep it simple with the jeans, but just go crazy with the jackets and the scarves and the accessories. That's what makes it. I've realized also that fashion can be really easy, and not easy, but it can be really cool if you just keep it really monotone when it comes to the shirt and the jeans, and then you go crazy with the accessories. And honestly, that's the most affordable way of dressing quote unquote cool, or at least like leveling up your closet, is going really creative with your accessories, but then staying really simple and constant with the outfit, or at least like the shirt and the jeans or skirt. Because that, honestly, one, I think it's the most sustainable as well, because if you just buy really monotone general pieces that you actually need a day-to-day life, you're going to use those pieces for longer, so you're not going to throw them away, and you're going to tend to buy less because you already have everything that you need. But then on top of that, you can just buy cool earrings, different types of hairstyles that you can do, different types of shoes. The shoes are good. I love experimenting with shoes. I bought this like sparkly ballerinas the other day, and I'm very, very excited about them. And the cool jackets. I will say the jackets do make the look when it comes to winter. Now, when it comes to the summertime, I always go for a go-to skort. I like skorts because I like walking for a long time. I am scared of the wind always blowing up my skirt. So I love skorts or long skirts. Long skirts and me are one, okay? I used to have like 5, now I have 3. But long skirts and me are best friends. It's generally my obsession in the summer, and I absolutely love them. They're so easy to style. They're so, like, you can wear them in sneakers. You can level them up when you need to go somewhere fancy, but you can also wear them super casual, super comfortable, and classy. You know, you can have like a classy long skirt, you can have like a flowy long skirt and make it like a little more casual. I just love it. I also wear them to the beach sometimes. I love them. I wore them to a frat party once, and let's just say everyone was just in really shorts, like shorty shorts, and I was in my long skirt, and I just look like a fashion star compared to all the other basic American girls. So what can I say? I made a fashion statement at a frat party. That's what I have to say. I don't know what else to say about that. But yeah, so when it comes to fashion, I try to up level when it comes to that. When it comes to the summertime, yes, the long skirt, the skort. I love the jean skirts. They're so useful. And when it comes to shirts, okay, so the way that I do it is that you can't have too tight things on. Like, if your skirt is tight, you can have a tight shirt. It has to be a flowy shirt. If you have a tight shirt on, it has to be a flowy bottom, or like flare pants, something. Like, it has to coordinate. You know what I mean? You can't have both. You really can't. It's gonna look too much. Some people can work it, some people can't. I choose to stay safe, and then I'll just put a belt and like really cool necklaces and style a bunch, but that's about it. One thing that I just remember while we're talking is that most of my clothing in high school, I mean, here in London, I really can't afford it right now. I'm going crazy because everything's so expensive here, because people just make vintage stuff look so cool that they make it so expensive. But in Miami, my favorite thing is the Coconut Grove Farmers Market, because they have the best clothing for a really good price. I bought these 1 teaspoon shorts in high school. They're from there. And if you don't know what 1 teaspoon is, it's like the most basic Miami girl shorts that look like diapers. I mean, now I make fun of them because they actually look atrocious, but at the time it was like the coolest thing on the block. Everyone was wearing them. All the girls wanted to have 1 teaspoon shorts. And I bought this purple 1 teaspoon shorts because I can never just go simple. Lucia will always go crazy. Like, all the girls had like the normal jeans, and I had purple jeans. Let's not question it, okay? I thought I was being different. I did get complimented a bunch of times for my shorts, but I bought them for, I believe, 50 or 40, and they looked brand new, and they were secondhand, and they looked brand new, and I was so proud of myself, because not only was I paying less for really expensive shorts that everyone was wearing, I was staying in trend, which I wanted to at the time, and they were unique because they were purple, and they were cheaper, and I was being sustainable and helping the environment. So go me. But yeah, so buying secondhand sometimes doesn't have to be. I feel like there's such a stigma when it comes to that, and it doesn't have to be. They were new, they were brand new, but nobody had worn them, and I don't know why the girl was selling them, but she sold it to me. I never found a problem with them. Eventually, when I moved, when I got a little older and I didn't like 1 teaspoon anymore, I donated it again, and the cycle kept going. Don't know who has them now. Hopefully it's not in the landfill, but those shorts, wow, they amazing, absolutely amazing. I also had a shirt that I used to wear all the time in school, and I got complimented that I also got at Goodwill. I was so good at spotting things at Goodwill during high school. Goodwill, if you're from outside the US, it's a secondhand store, clothing store, and sometimes you have to really, really, really look deep to find things. I used to have this one specific blue and white sweater that I wore all the way till second year of uni, but I had to throw it away because it got, not throw it away, I had to donate it because it got like a huge pen stain, and it wasn't cute anymore. Also, it looked a little bit awkward by now because it kind of like shrunk, so I donated it. But apart from that, it served me well for like 4 years, and I used to get complimented by it almost all the time because it was beautiful and it looked preppy, and it gave me a vibe. It gave a vibe that was really cool. So that's a sign that you can always go for secondhand clothing, and it shouldn't be a problem. Another solution that I've seen, and most of my friends did this for prom actually, is renting. Is it the Runway? I'm gonna write it down in the description, but it's called the Good Runway, something like that, and it's a store, an online store where you can rent. I think it only works in the US though, but it's an online store where you can rent like really nice expensive dresses for 1 or 2 days, and they ship it to you, and you just ship it back once you're done. And I think it's like $50 or like $40 for renting, depends on the dress obviously, and these are like expensive, nice luxury dresses, and you can literally rent them out for occasions. So it doesn't have to fill up your closet. So if you don't have closet space, it literally doesn't fill up your closet. You can wear really nice, expensive, bougie dress for like $40, and then you're just renting it. So you're not even contributing to overconsumption because you're just, somebody has it. You're just renting it for the day, and you get it back. It's absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. I honestly, like, most of my friends did that. They wore really nice dresses, and like we're talking $2,000 dresses, and they just paid like $40 to $50 to wear it on prom, and they looked amazing, beautiful, and that's it. That's all they needed. Because if you think about it, if you're gonna buy a $2,000 dress, you're not going to really nice events every single day, so are you really getting your money's worth? Plus, if you're buying it at that age, when you're like 18, 17, what are the chances that you're gonna fit into it when you're like 22, 23? When you're going to like nice events for your friends or stuff, and you still want to wear the $2,000 dress that you bought when you were 17, chances are you still don't fit in it. So you're getting your money's worth, you're wearing something super nice, but you're also being able to afford it, and you're not contributing to overconsumption. So I think it's a win-win in a situation. So that is another option, and I'm gonna find what it actually is called so I can put it in the description. But yes, that's all I needed to rant about. This is kind of an introduction to the world of fast fashion, and kind of an introduction to garments and the overconsumption of it, and some solutions for you to do. I thought it was really interesting. I mean, I have so much to learn from it. I'm currently taking an online course that I found, and I'm really, really excited to keep learning about it, and I'm really, really excited to hopefully one day really get into it and, involve myself in the industry. But also, I'm really sorry if I look exactly like the color of the wall, because I'm looking at it right now, and this is atrocious. This is so bad. I don't ever want to look at myself in the mirror again while I'm in this color. I don't think you understand. If you go from being tan 365 days to the year until you're 18 years old, and then one day you turn 19 and you see yourself this color, you generally don't recognize yourself. I was born in the Canary Islands, then moved to Miami. I have been tan my entire life. I've never seen myself this color. I generally didn't think this was my skin color. I'm not even kidding. Like, it sounds like a joke, haha, Lucia's so pale. No, I generally didn't know my skin tone could get this bad. I did not think so. I thought I was naturally tan. I just realized that I lived in the sun my entire life. This is so bad. Anyways, I hope you're having a great day. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.